Hello, Sam Mosher here, back again 1 year later for 2019 Favorites Week. I'm running through the best last year had to offer in entertainment, and I'm starting day one with my top 20 films of 2019. I'm releasing these videos in mid-January so I could catch those late December, early January limited releases that are so hard to catch during the year. I'm glad I did because there were definitely some really good ones that did make this list. Of course, there will also be movies I miss every year. 2019 is no different. Here are the 10 movies I hope to catch soon. They're scrolling by now. The ones that, if I had seen prior to shooting this video, might have made my top 20. A few documentaries, a few foreign films. Those are always so hard to find here in Missouri playing. I'm especially pissed Portrait of a Lady on Fire isn't getting a wide release until February because I've heard it's excellent. Now, there are plenty of movies I did see in 2019 that didn't make my list, and here are those films ranked now. I saw 67 films in 2019, 13 more than I did in 2018. I seriously don't know how that's possible because I had MoviePass, rest in peace, in 2018, and that just made films so accessible and, manageable for a college student's budget to see. But hey, a lot was available on Netflix, and I'm certainly not complaining about the number of films I saw because a lot were great. Others, not so much. Overall, 2019 was not a great year for blockbusters. There were no Mission Impossibles or Last Jedis, but there were still some nice surprises otherwise. Shazam was a funny and solid entry into the DCEU. Good Boys was a hilarious and pleasantly heartfelt comedy. Keanu Reeves continues to be a badass in John Wick 3, and Ready or Not was an awesome comedy horror thriller. Alright, with those other 47 films taken care of, here are my top 20 films of 2019. Starting off our list is Midsommar, Ari Aster's follow-up to Hereditary, my second favorite movie of 2018. While not as good as Hereditary, Midsommar, still don't know what the pronunciation is, shows Astra and company stepping up their technical prowess with some amazing coloring, subtle visual effects, and unforgettable cinematography. And good God, are the first 20 minutes perfect and very unsettling. Yes, this movie is a little too long in my opinion, but an amazing lead performance by breakout star Florence Pugh makes it well worth watching. Up next is another flawed but hard to forget horror film, Jordan Peele's Us. I won't beat around the bush. Peele's follow-up to Get Out is messy in the plot department to say the least. I would have rather it been more ambiguous. It's one of those closer you look, the less it makes sense type of things. But putting those complaints aside, what sticks with me most about Us is the humor, exhilarating sequences, especially that perfectly edited final fight, and a remarkable performance from Lupita Nyong'o. The script allows her to play with almost everything on the emotional spectrum, and it's a skin-crawling delight to behold. At number 18 is a movie that only becomes more impressive in retrospect, Avengers Endgame. In a year when Game of Thrones and Star Wars fell flat in their finales, Endgame somehow brought 21 films to an emotional and satisfying climax, while of course leaving it open for more movies in the future. This movie still brought surprises after months and months of hype, and it delivered all the spectacles, character moments, and humor we want from an MCU movie. Well done. Next is the triumphant return of Eddie Murphy in Netflix's Dolemite Is My Name. This, based on a true story comedy, was clearly made with love for Rudy Ray Moore and his offbeat humor and charm. Murphy plays him perfectly, and he elevates the rest of the great cast, including Wesley Snipes, Davine Joy Randolph, and Craig Robinson. It's a funny underdog story that will definitely have you rooting for its crude but lovable protagonist by its end. Number 16 is another biopic, this one even more extravagant than the last. Yes, it's Rocketman, a movie that shows what Bohemian Rhapsody should have been. Rocketman is a jukebox musical that embraces its identity as a musical, complete with over-the-top music numbers, magical dreamlike sequences, and Elton's signature costumes. And Taron Egerton sells it as Sir Elton John, delivering a charming but nuanced performance where he himself performed the film's music, and he sounded great. Amazing, right? Coming in at 15 is 2019's best dad movie, Ford vs. Ferrari. This, based on a true story racing movie, is made great by expert direction from James Mangold. Great sound design, editing, and practical effects make the racing sequences feel visceral and dangerous. These technical elements keep 30-plus minute racing sequences from being boring, especially from a guy who doesn't care about racing. In fact, they're thoroughly exciting and compelling, which is a clear feat in and of itself. The leading men, Christian Bale and Matt Damon, add some everyday charm and humor to the film as well. On the other end of the film genre spectrum is my number 14 film, The Souvenir. Joanna Hogg's quiet coming-of-age romance is an engrossing watch as the viewer is subjected to watch a toxic relationship slowly transform the film's protagonist into a confident artist. Honor Swinton Byrne is perfectly casted in this role, and I'm excited to see her career blossom from here. And number 13 is 2019's best full-out comedy, Booksmart. Following the classic first high school party format of Superbad, Booksmart is a pure joy to watch. It's filled with weird but lovable characters, surprising plot turns, and a banging soundtrack. Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein, hope I pronounced those right, are a great comedic duo, and supporting players like Jason Sudeikis, Billy Lord, and Michael Bryan are hilarious too. Director Olivia Wilde adds some fresh touches to this well-worn type of movie and makes it feel fresh again. Up next is probably the weirdest movie I saw in 2019, Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse. Eggers' follow-up to The Witch, or as some people call it, The Vivitch, is a historical fever dream that cements Eggers as a modern auteur. It's gripping cinematography framed by a 1.119:1 aspect ratio, yes, not 1:1, powerful sound design, and its tense oddball screenplay create an absolutely gripping watch. Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe fully commit to their roles as lighthouse keepers, slowly or maybe not so slowly going crazy. This film gave us Why'd You Spill Your Beans, and what more could I ask for? Barely missing in my top 10 is the tense, atmospheric sci-fi drama, High Life. This graphic film is a striking tale of humans acting at their base instincts. Robert Pattinson again excels in a weird A24 film, except this one is much more erotic than the somewhat erotic The Lighthouse. Juliette Binoche and Andre 3000, hell yeah, are great too. Claire Denis' direction and Yorick Lissaw's cinematography make for a hypnotizing watch that has definitely stuck with me, especially that black room scene. Woof. Kicking off our top 10 is the 9th film from director, writer, producer Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. A fun and excellently made tribute to the late 60s Hollywood era, this movie has a lot of the classic Tarantino trappings, great and often funny dialogue, alternate history, a bit of absurdity, scenes that work as amazing short films, and of course, award-worthy lead performances. This time, those performances come from Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and Margot Robbie. And the rest of the lengthy star-studded cast is great too. But all in all, this is the year for Brad Pitt's acting Oscar. Damn, I want to look that good when I'm 56. Speaking of fun, humor, and great performances, my number 9 pick is Knives Out. Writer-director Rian Johnson's whodunit subverts the genre in all the right places, while giving the viewer all the twists they want from a mystery. Johnson showcases characters even more colorful than their costumes, delivers some surprising but appreciated social commentary, and keeps the film moving at a great pace. It's a movie with a cast too stacked to delve into, but I have to highlight Daniel Craig's cheeky performance as a Southern detective and a great breakout performance from Ana de Armas. But when it comes to 2019's breakout film performances, Awkwafina takes the cake in my book for her dramatic turn in The Farewell. Based on a true story from director Lulu Wang's life, this film is a great personal tale about family, cultural differences, and reckoning with a place you should belong to but feel like you don't. It's a funny and melancholy film, and Wang balances those tones well. But Awkwafina isn't the only breakout star, though. Zhao Shushin, sorry if I said that wrong, who plays Awkwafina's character's grandmother, will have you wishing she was your grandma by the film's end. Alright, number 7. Remember when I said just a bit ago that this is the year for Brad Pitt's Oscar? He deserves a supporting actor win for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, no doubt. But in a just world, he'd be a frontrunner for Best Actor for his role in Ad Astra, my number 7 pick. Pitt plays a reclusive astronaut in this introspective father-son drama that just so happens to also be a visually stunning sci-fi film. Its themes of isolation and familial trauma pair well with its vast, lonely depiction of our solar system's future. Major props to director James Gray for making one of the best space films out there since Interstellar. Up next is the directorial debut in my book of 2019, Joe Talbot's The Last Black Man in San Francisco. This is a film that feels made from the soul as Talbot lovingly but honestly depicts modern San Francisco and its gentrification that has changed the city. Emile Mazzari's score and Adam Newport Barra's cinematography make this one of those every moment is a work of art films. The themes of family, friendship, and the histories we create and let define us are powerful. So yeah, all in all, the sum of this film's parts is a force to be reckoned with, and I loved it. Starting the top 5, the S tier of 2019 films in my book is Noah Baumbach's divorce drama, Marriage Story. As it usually does, Baumbach's screenplay shines in this quietly devastating film about a couple trying to end their marriage on good but fair terms. This film's powerful monologues, devastating fights, and quiet moments will stick with you long after it's done. Adam Driver, Scarlett Johansson, and Laura Dern bring Baumbach's script to life and are clear contenders for Best Actor, Actress, and Supporting Actress in my book. Next is another excellent Netflix film, Martin Scorsese's crime epic, The Irishman. Yes, this movie's long, but hey, Cats is less than 2 hours and felt longer than this. This movie was some of the best 3.5 hours of entertainment in my life. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, and Joe Pesci come together for this very well-acted film about violent men and the consequences of living such a violent life. It's funny and well-paced. It really, I promise, doesn't feel like 3.5 hours, and the ending hits like a gut punch. Scorsese is clearly still at the top of his game, and this film shows him using his mobster film experience to really make a statement. At number 3 is Greta Gerwig's adaptation of the classic Louisa May Alcott novel, Little Women. Just like Gerwig's previous film, Lady Bird, which I also love, Little Women is a funny, well-directed coming-of-age film that stars Saoirse Ronan that just bleeds emotion. Its story about what we give up as we grow older definitely left me teary-eyed. The film has the best ensemble cast of the year with Florence Pugh, Timothée Chalamet, Laura Dern, Meryl Streep, and the aforementioned Saoirse Ronan being particular standouts. Gerwig's screenplay is an excellent retooling of Alcott's classic story for the modern generation, and the characters are still as relatable, empowering, and lovably human as ever. You're a gem, Greta Gerwig. And man, I'm gonna hate myself for this one, but speaking of gems, at number 2 is Uncut Gems. Damn, that's what we call a segue. Now, between Little Women, Uncut Gems, and my number 1, they're all 10 out of 10s in my book, checked by Letterboxd. In any other year, they'd probably be number 1. That's how good 2019 was. So, with that being said, yeah, Uncut Gems is a masterpiece. It's a freight train of a movie that doesn't stop until it runs out of tracks. The Safdie brothers have just nailed their brand of high-stress thrillers, and the editing, cinematography, and One No Tricks Point Never score elevate the film to be a technical marvel. Adam Sandler shines and gives my favorite performance of the year as a gambling addict who you can't help but root for. This film is hilarious, a non-stop source of excitement, and a great showcase for new acting talents like Julia Fox and Kevin Garnett, of all people. It's a chaotic, amazing film that, to quote Howie, I love but I don't deserve. If you know, you know. Alright, so number 1, I hinted at it earlier, it's another masterpiece from 2019, Parasite. Like Uncut Gems and Little Women, Parasite is a critical darling, a real film that critics can enjoy and also can be enjoyed by anyone. It's hilarious, exhilarating, and full of surprising twists and great performances. Director and writer Bong Joon-ho once again delivers likable characters, great dialogue, and timely social commentary. This time, he takes on class warfare in a refreshing way that blends elements of comedies, heist films, and thrillers. It's a small-scale blockbuster that will leave you stunned and moved by its end. Like Joon-ho said in his Golden Globe acceptance speech, once you get over the hurdle of subtitles, some of the world's best films will be available to you, and Parasite is definitely one of them. And with that, day 1 of 2019 Favorites Week is done. Tomorrow I'll give you my favorite TV shows of 2019. What were your favorite films of 2019? Let me know in the comments or on social media. I'm at Sam Scott Mosher. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share it, or even better, just check out these movies. That's why I make these videos anyway. These movies are great, I promise. If you want to keep up with my brief thoughts on films throughout the year, you can follow me on Letterboxd at Sam Scott Mosher. Until tomorrow, love you.